Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, and on this channel we talk Kanye West. And today we're going to be talking the story about Kanye and his pitch to Nintendo, and the guy that was running Nintendo at the time, Reggie Fils-Aimé. So Reggie was recently on this podcast episode. He has Talking Games with Reggie and Harold, and was talking about his meeting with Kanye. And it dates back to that 2015 period. Kanye was at E3 to show off the Only One video game trailer, and he got to meet Shigeru Miyamoto, who's one of the legendary people at Nintendo, right? And he, through Miyamoto, asked to meet with Reggie. So he sets up this meeting with Reggie, and you can see in this article written by Jason here, he says, Reggie recalled that the meeting was interesting and felt that Kanye had such a passion for the video game space. Despite the praise, Reggie politely declined Kanye's pitch. We had so many different projects at Nintendo going on, the possibility of doing something with Kanye just wasn't there, and so I had to find a way to politely decline this opportunity to work with him. This is where it kind of gets interesting to me. When people first started pointing out this article to me a couple days ago, and now it's part of the 24-hour news cycle as all your usual suspects are writing like Kanye Nintendo articles, but I figured it dated back to E3 and Only One. It was just like them being like, no, sorry. But when I read this next part, not in this article, we're going to have to jump to a different article, but I was just blown away by how condescending and insulting it was. Not just to like Kanye, but to anyone. So he says, Jason just has, Reggie remember telling West that Nintendo would be incredibly difficult to work with because of its commitment to high quality content. And West replied enthusiastically stating, Reggie, you're exactly the type of partner I want because of that reason. Which might not sound as bad, but let's get into the actual quote. So I told him, Kanye, you don't want to work with us because we're tough, we're hard. All we do is push for the very best content. We would not be the type of partner you would want to work with. What? Like, imagine that. Imagine you go to a restaurant and you're like, hi. You walk up to the hostess stand and you're just like, I would like to eat here. And the person there is like, oh, well, see, at this restaurant, we do our very best to put out the most delicious, best tasting food in all the world. You're like, that sounds amazing. They're like, yeah, so you don't want to eat here. I'm like, what? I like good food. That's exactly why I want to eat here. And they're like, no, not you. No, you don't want to. Our food's just too good for you. That's essentially what he's saying. Like, oh, we make good video games. You know, we make like perfect video games. I don't think you have that level of like drive or interest in making the kind of quality game that we want to make. So no. And I get that he's like just trying to find a polite way to tell Kanye like we don't have the room available to make this game. But why not say that rather than like, oh yeah, we work too hard, man. You just wouldn't fit in here. Like, what? What? Like, forget for a second that it's Kanye. Just saying that to anybody is like an awful thing to say to someone. And then the fact that it's Kanye, I don't know if Reggie doesn't know anything about Kanye's like work ethic, if he doesn't know anything about like Kanye's music. Maybe he just knows headlines. Maybe he just knows Kanye from like clips in pop culture rather than actual like music and the details about him, which tends to be kind of the dichotomy of what people know of Kanye. You have fans like us that tend to know a lot more about his process, and then you have people that just kind of see the headlines and are like, oh, this guy must be ridiculous. So maybe Reggie was going on that, but regardless, what a terrible thing to say to someone. Terrible. And it's not like Only One from the trailer. I mean, it was a little strange at the time when it dropped that it's just like, oh, it's Kanye's like mother going to heaven. A little jarring, I think, to a lot of people. But the art direction was praised a lot. The trailer was still kind of very interesting to a lot of people. So maybe he saw more of the video game and was just like, no, I don't like this. And this was the best he could come up with. Maybe he just got, I don't know. Maybe there's a reason if you were to ask Reggie, like, why did you put it that way? That would make sense. But I find it kind of indefensible. Like, just what an awful thing. And I mean, talking about Kanye in video games, I wanted to take a second to step back because video games are actually the reason that we have Kanye as a musician. So this article, talk about jarring, is also a little jarring. Kanye West made a video game about a giant penis. So you can see in this interview from 2009, he discussed with details about how making beats is what caused him, or video games is what caused him to start making beats. So first beat I did was in 7th grade on my computer. I got into doing beats for video games I used to try to make. My game was very sexual. The main character was like a giant penis. It was the Mario Brothers, but the ghosts were like vaginas. My goodness. Mind you, I'm 12 years old, and this is stuff 30-year-olds are programming. You'd have to draw in a program and program every little step. It literally took me all night to do a step because the penis, had little feet and eyes. I just feel like Kanye had to have watched Superbad, and just the scene where, Jonah Hill's character describes drawing all of the penises and keeping them in his lunchbox, and the girl like knocks over his lunchbox and finds all the drawings. Kanye's just like, yes, that was me. So, and then he goes on just to talk about, some really personal things, but it was video games that actually caused Kanye to start making beats, and then he kind of dropped the video game aspect and kept on with the beat making. But clearly he was inspired by Mario, right, and loves Nintendo, so this was probably a big deal for him to try to make this pitch. And the fact that Reggie handled it so horribly, which like Reggie's like a fun guy. If you watch any of his videos, like he tends to connect with the audience. He tends to connect with like younger audiences. He's clearly really good at what he does and is a legend in the industry. I just don't understand how you can be at the status that he is and say something like that and not be embarrassed by it. I don't know. That's it. That's all I got for this video. But if you want to check out the Only One trailer, just look it up. I think that's it. And if you're enjoying the channel and you want to support us, the easiest way is to like, subscribe, or comment, as those things tell YouTube this is a channel people engage with and enjoy, and then they show it to more people. We also have our podcast, Watching the Throne, a lyrical analysis of Kanye West, where we have the deepest and most insightful line-by-line lyrical analysis of Kanye's discography that you'll find anywhere. We have put more hours into analyzing Kanye's work than I think anyone. I'm pretty sure we're the leading scholars of Kanye's discography. So if you want to check that out, it's on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Tidal, we're even there. So go ahead and listen to an episode and forever change how you listen to Kanye's music. Until next time, stay wavy and keep it loopy. Cheers.